All right, so I've been doing a little thinking, everybody. Thank you for coming to my channel, BDF44. Of course, I'm supposed to be doing the intro and all this good stuff, but right now my mind is going so fast. Yeah, hope you're having a great day, man. But I think I know why Kanye may have put the comments of misinformation in his 3 hours and 30-minute conversation with Noriega that now has Noriega apologizing on multiple platforms. I didn't know he had actually went to Breakfast Club when I made the video that I just made. I thought he had only went to Hot 97. He went to both New York platforms to make sure that apology was clear. I do believe that he put the misinformation in the thing because it puts him in a position to further drive home his overall point. That point is that you can have something that's 3 hours and a half long, full of different information, good information, bad information, whatever it may be. But because of a few moments of misinformation or misspeaking, or dare I say even irresponsible speech, the entire 3 hours is removed from the internet. I think that's the point. Because everything else he's doing is essentially aligned with that, it seems. That he's trying to show us how they initiate certain protocols and how he seems to think those protocols may not be fair. And that's just my little theory as I'm watching what he's doing. The White Lives Matter thing, he's showing us how we're all outraged by that, and how we view it and how the hypocrisy of it all. He's trying to display the hypocrisy. And then now, furthermore, with other things that he's doing, he's with the situation where he's saying certain things about the Jewish people and the war that he's waging on them, so to speak, or whatever he wants to call this nonsense. He's showing us how they control us. And then I say they, I mean when he speaks of the Jewish media, quote unquote, how the people in place who can silence us do silence us when they are compelled to do so. That's been like another example of him doing this. So in my mind, him putting this George Floyd misinformation in that 3 hour and 30-minute interview was him essentially saying that they will remove the entire interview just for the 3 minutes that I've said of what 3 minutes that's placed in there. All the information that's in there, anything else that was in there, any relevant information is now deemed irrelevant and not important because of the 3 minutes that needed to be removed otherwise. I think that may be somewhere along the lines of what he's trying to convey when putting that blatant stuff in there that is going to be challenged. But at the same time, I look at it and I say, he did get it from, he's promoting essentially in this situation. What I also simultaneously understand that he's doing is promoting Candace Owens' documentary on George Floyd, and what she's alleging in that documentary is what he was previewing. Okay, that's what he was doing. Her a solid in previewing her documentary. Yeah, that's what he's doing. And it's awful. It's an awful way to do it, but if you I don't know, man. When you're trying to befriend somebody and that's the way you want to go about doing it, I do imagine that you expect to have to pay more money to the family. And when I say more money, I mean it's been alleged that he's paid $2 million to the Floyd family to take care of the young daughter's tuition for college. That was what was said. That was, done. So he will have to pay more money to the Floyd family. Now, the stuff that he's alleging and all of this about different things in regards to their family, I don't. He's getting it from Candace Owens, and quite frankly, I don't have a whole lot of faith in Candace Owens, as you guys know, and I will repeat that 106 times. I just don't like some of the stuff that has come out of her mouth and some of the energy that I've taken from the things that she's said. Just, I don't like it. I think he and her meet on a level where they both like to provoke the black community. Like, they both have a thing for attacking the group thinking of our community. The norms and the adapted norms and the different ways that we often kind of collectively move. They meet in a space because they like to attack those things. They resent those things together, and I think that's where they meet. I don't know. I got a couple theories about why he's so close to her, and it has to do with him trying to get his wife back. And if he's trying to be a friend to her, then she's going to have an angle to him. So she's going to be like, well, can you plug my thing? And that's what I think she did. Or he did, rather. Of course, I'm getting a call here distracting me, but that's what it is I think is happening here. So, as I look at the situation, and I just continue to further assess it, it just reinforces my theory that Kanye West is looking at like 7 things at once when he's doing everything that he does. It has multiple symbols, multiple meanings, multiple. It's always like that, and this just further reinforces that. But I do think anything that he does involving Candace Owens, he needs to think twice about. I really believe that, and it aligns with my initial point when I made my message to Ye that said, man, you're engaging in the wrong energy. If I'm putting 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 and all these different 2s together, this is where he's gone wrong. This is why people are getting away from his main message. You have to ask yourself, you got all this going on where you're trying to wage war, this, that, and the third. Do you really think they wouldn't place someone close to you if they know you're waging this war? I mean, you gotta think it's the art of war, bro. I just don't understand how you can think this woman, this particular woman, means you any well. I don't know. But then again, I guess you can't see it. But it is what it is, man. I'll continue to pray for Ye. I always tell you guys I pray for different people that I talk about on this channel, which is why I talk so much about specific people. As much as I do. Ye is one of those people, and as you guys know. But it's just like, even more so, it's just watching people make mistakes and watching people who understand a lot of things just make simple energy decisions that ultimately lead them in the wrong direction, that deter their entire, what it is they're actually trying to do. And I think that Ye may be faced with a little bit of that right now. It's like he's getting in his own way of his own message, and he's unearthing some things that can really be helpful, but he's doing it in some ways that are just going to end up bringing about the wrong energy, as I love to say. And you can see it starting to ramp up. You can see how others are behaving around what it is that he's done. This is not good. It's not good. And if he would have been doing it for the right reasons, there would have been no in between about what it is that he's trying to convey. There'd have been no way to further arm those who otherwise want to skirt around what it is that he's trying to focus on. He's fueling their defenses against what it is that he's doing. You guys hear me talk about fueling your enemies and giving them ammo? Forget all that. This dude is providing the entire defense. It's like, okay, he's offending them, and then he's making himself look further bad so they can initiate things that they often do, right? That's what he's trying to do. But in all of that, nobody's paying attention to that part because he's offending the people who will also otherwise stand to learn from what it is he's trying to display. And it's only people like myself who can look past all that nonsense, who can actually see what it is he's trying to show, and hopefully reach inside of all of that and pull out the nonsense he's trying to show you guys for him. So that's what I hope I'm doing that in some way. And even more so to say, man, look, it's another thing that's on my heart. As I look at balance and things that matter, when we talk about unearthing people's lives and trying to show them who they are for who we are and all of this, telling them that they've given us this and that and not enough or what have you, and now we want things to change and all of that. We have to always look at certain things. There's certain things you gotta look at. And one thing I'll say is, even if you think certain things, you still want to almost put yourself in someone else's shoes. And when doing so, you have to think about certain respects that come with that. One respect is we've been in a place in our country where we've been fighting for certain things, including money. And Ye did allude to this because he said that we're now coming into money, which is why he's acting the way he is. But let me get back on track. The point is, now that we're starting to find our way, we're starting to ask for things that we otherwise could not have asked for, nor did we know to ask for. Now, why we didn't have that information, those are things that we need to address, and we can point at different things. But focusing on the fact that we don't have that information and how best to interact with people who don't have information needs to be taken into account. And as that information and that power starts to grow, then you start to understand what it is that's been missing. But why didn't you have it? It's because you weren't in a position to obtain it properly. And as the gradual nature of our power has come, so has what it is that we've been able to obtain, right? So I don't think that's going to be taken into account very much. Is it our fault that we weren't in a position to have the things that we didn't have? I believe no. But for their perspective, the Jewish people's perspective, they did business the way that they were allowed to do business up until a point. Do you understand what I mean by that? And I don't even think I'm conveying this properly, but what I'm saying is the contracts that they were able to give us and the things and the business and the way things were going in the 70s, 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s, it's gradually gotten better to where black people have been able to get into situations and learn certain things more so and become more factors in different things. And then therefore we learn certain things. And as you start to climb, you learn more about what it takes to hold on to things, what it takes to run things, what incompetence means, what happens when you let certain entities in, and if you do, what can go wrong. I think that those who have been in position of power have been guarding against these things for a very long time. And in doing so, they've had to guard against the ignorance of it all. And if you let certain entities in that don't understand, they will not understand how to handle those things. And I don't know that there is a respect for that. I don't know that we know to respect that until we find ourselves in a position to where we're responsible for all of what they've been responsible for. I don't know that we know what to be appreciative of as it pertains to what it is that they've had to do over time in regards to dealing with us and dealing with others. So when we look and say, yo, you're this, and this, and you owe us this, and this, I say, has our value as a whole and our understanding as a whole been the same the whole time? Or are we starting to come into something, and now because of what we now believe, we need to know what it is that we've otherwise been kept from? Things that we thought we should have known the whole time. We now know we deserve to know because we're in a position for which we can handle the understanding, more so than maybe we were able to. No fault to ours. No fault to ours. But I don't know it's any fault to theirs either. Maybe some can say that some of them have eaten off of us. Maybe some could say they've kept their lid on us. I don't know. Those with information would have to inform me. But from a person I'm looking from the outside in, who's trying to involve himself in a conversation like this, I know what I do not know, and I also understand what it is that I could not be responsible for myself. So if I'm to ask for certain responsibilities or ask for certain truths, I better be in a position from which to hold on to it. And while maybe a few, or maybe most, maybe not all, maybe some, but as for myself, I'm trying to give some credence to the understanding of maybe they're not knowing who can be trusted and maybe not knowing exactly who should be given what power. Maybe they don't necessarily have it within their best interest business-wise for certain things in the 1970s and 60s and 80s and 90s for them to keep their situation together in order to give us certain opportunities that maybe it would have been in their heart to give us, maybe because of the overall environment which was not necessarily theirs to control. Maybe they couldn't do certain things. I don't know. I don't want to speak for, but what I don't want to do is condemn without knowing or giving credence to the possibility of such. And when I look at people who have given us business opportunities, I look at how a guy like Michael Jordan was able to make certain contract decisions, get a certain amount of money, and then as we get a little further down the line, a guy like LeBron James make a little more money, and we're getting progressively better. We're getting there. And now we're getting to a point where it's like, all right, we want it all. But if you're someone who has it all, do you give it all to them now? Is that how that actually works from their perspective? How do we make them feel more so a part of the conversation rather than being attacked, so that we don't have a situation where we're never actually reaching a place of understanding? Because this doesn't provide no credence to the other side. And if you're not reaching in with love, my friend, you're not going to take back nothing but hate. I promise you that. And so that's why I'm not on Kanye's side as it pertains to how he's approaching the situation, because I got a different approach. You know, same spiritual space, because I pray to the same Jesus he do, but I got a different mind. I got a different kind of way I want to approach this, man. Probably just as dangerous. Probably they're going to hate me just as much, but there's going to be a few people on the other side of that situation who ain't going to listen to Ye, who will be like, you know what, nah, but Brandon's not going to try to offend me while trying to obtain the information he wants. At the very least, I will try my very best not to disrespect your sensibility while trying to obtain what it is that I feel I deserve. And I think that that's the type of respect that I think has already been given to me by their people. You see what I'm trying to say? I think the Jewish people's already given me that. Because if they hadn't already given me that, I don't think we would have reached the heights we already are in their business. You see what I'm saying? In the business where they control this, that, and the third, we wouldn't even get this far if their intention was to keep us down. I don't think that. Do you see what I'm saying? I just think that they've been giving us incremental stuff because in this environment, that's how it's been. And so, look, I just say to them, maybe you could have did a little more, right? Maybe you can help us understand some things so we can end the disconnect, so we can know what you're responsible for, how you do it, and maybe start to take on the practices that you respect within yourself that you want us to take on, so that you can respect what we can be involved a little more. And that's what will help us get to a level where we have the wisdom to match the confidence, to match the ambition, to match the fire, to match what it is that ultimately will be the gall to be responsible. Do you understand what I'm saying? The gall to be leaders. Because that is what we want to display. And I think we can be. But it has to be with diplomacy. It has to be with intent on understanding somebody else's point of view. Even if you don't agree with them, even if you ain't vibing with them, even if you don't like them, you got to be able to see their side. Because if you want some type of compromise, you have to assume, at least trust that somebody else is smart enough on their side to do the same thing. And we have to have that. We have to have that. We can't be bullheaded. No way do you get anywhere if you bullheaded. So that's what it's about, man. Smarter heads will prevail. Cooler heads will prevail. And prayerful minds, I think, for those of us who are believers, hey, get your prayer on. Get your pray on. Figure it out. You know what I mean? I'm going to be praying about what it is that I'm saying. I would hope those on the other side, your faithful people, pray about it. You know what I mean? Don't just wage war against people because they look different. That's what's gotten us into these spaces of misunderstanding and disconnecting. I can't trust you and I don't want to give you this right now. That's what created all of that. No, you can help us. And that's essentially what Ye wants to say. You can help us, and we think you can, and we think you had a heart to do it, but you're going to have to help us unearth some of these truths. And while all these misconceptions about who you are and who we're not and all this, you silencing us when we try to have this conversation, it makes you look evil. Point blank, period. I don't give a damn what nobody says. It makes you look evil. For those of us who are smart enough to know what Ye is actually doing, you guys look evil when you do that, man. So that's what I would tell you to any person who is in a position of power. To understand what I'm saying? You look bad silencing that man to those of us who are smart enough to know that all that controversy nonsense, all that offensive nonsense is a smokescreen that even he ain't smart enough to wipe away. But trust me, this conversation can be had without war. This conversation can be had in peace. This conversation can be had in love. I promise you it can. There is a way. Even if those on opposite sides will tell you, no, I'm telling the youth, there's a way you can have this conversation without war, man. Because both sides love God. I promise you that. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching.